Okay, so let's go over the facts here. You got this rapist, murder, fucking terror race who can teleport across the map. People worship them as gods for 6,000 years. Everyone, the Satanists, the Christians, the atheists, they have to create all these lies and delusions about what they are and fucking hide in the shadows. That they're fucking just fucking disgusting looking pedophile alien fuckers. You got those people controlling everything. They claim they go into space. They at least have these fake rockets they can blow up, which means they would have the technology to fucking create weather like this. And Donald Trump and Elon Musk are using their technology to attack their own base, huh? Well, they led the Nazis and the Black Lives Matter, yet they're neither black nor European. Like, they're Israelis, okay? They're continuing to fund Israeli wars and they're cutting off America. So, yeah, 124 religions and um, no gods have ever appeared. That's because they're cowards and they don't want people to know what they're up to, and they don't want to. They don't want to do that teleporting shit and cloning shit they do in my life around other people, because then other people would want to hunt them as well, like I do and shit. And other people, and then we can point out which of the other humans are working with them, and we can get rid of that disease base, who is the main fucking problem on this fucking earth. The little aliens fucking, they can't even fucking live without us. There would be no purpose for them to be here without them to have human pets. Fucking, it's the other human filth who fucking works with them who is the real disease on this fucking planet. So, put it all together. You know, for those of you who think space is real, first of all, realize you're a retard and you've never gone to space, and most of you have failed kindergarten. So, the simple fact you can think you're going to go to space and you fail kindergarten is an absurd thought. But I understand in the minds of morons that they think they're fucking geniuses because they can't even read the fucking tests. Like, how do you know the test says that you failed if you can't even read the fucking word fail? They understand violence. At least they used to. It's kind of funny how in America they turned from savages to dick and ass homos. Um, I kind of, you know, kind of waiting on some real men to come fucking take this stolen land back and repatriate it or something. Fucking. Hopefully there can be some positives from that, right? Probably not. There's never been any positives on Earth, has there? There's been this shitbag alien race fucking stalking the planet, fucking destroying our lives since we got here, and these shitbag less than trash humans fucking protecting them and shit. Fucking playing along with them and stuff. Fucking non-existent fucking trash as an idea that something was living, even though cows probably aren't really. You know, if I throw a half-eaten hamburger in the trash, it means at one point in time it was living, right? Because I'm sure cows are living. They're not dumber than fucking humans and shit by far, are they? It's an inanimate object given breath to blur the pixels and shit, isn't it? Fucking make it seem realistic, and I'm giving breath for the same purpose, to blur the vision as the camera fucking wobbles and shifts, isn't it? Fuck, dude. Yep. So let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. They've got the space tech, and they're sending all the money to Israel, and they're cutting off protection for that shit. That means they've got the weather tech. You see, like, you're not dealing with people who have weather weapons. You're dealing with an alien devil race who the fucking pitiful, fucking disrespectful human scumbags have been worshiping as gods for thousands of years, and they invent fucking 150 different one true fucking religions, and it's fucking disgusting and moronic as it is. We have to put up with people who can't fucking outthink that or any fucking thing. I mean, they're too busy scamming each other to fucking try to outthink another scam while they're fucking selling baking soda. Someone is cocaine. Someone's fucking, they think they're buying real cocaine off someone else who's selling them baking soda off their brother or their mother who's selling it to them. Fucking seems to be the pattern I see going on with a lot of them and shit. They're kind of like religion. It's like selling baking soda is cocaine. You got a fucking alien demon race on the planet. And non-existent bot motherfuckers fucking just here with one purpose apparently and shit. They don't even get to enjoy all those baby dicks they suck, do they? Fucking, well, that's probably, that's the best thing imaginable, right? That because we do have this race stalking us. No one ever asked for them to be pieces of shit and raping their way into our lives and destroying our lives as they do. Like when they marry into your family and then kick your father out and then blame it on your father. When the Christians do that type of shit, that's because it's a bloodline cult. And their Bible clearly explains that they're going to rape and kill everyone else by acting like they're your friend and lover. I mean, that's the whole fucking basis of their books, of that book. As for vagina people, they had to create different books for different people as they colonize them. As for people they want to turn into homosexual sex slaves and stuff. Basically, it seems to be, obviously I'm talking about the third iteration, because the first, second, and fourth Bible, the Satanic, Muslim, and the original, definitely weren't being directed towards creating homosexual slaves, except the first kind of still was, but it wasn't directed to, create them so much as just allow it and be them. It wasn't for them, you know what I'm saying? It's a handbook for the master. It's a handbook for the one fucking the other guy. Another one's a handbook for someone who needs to bend over to get fucked. And then, obviously the fourth is wishy-wash, and then the second, the fourth is like them trying to struggle and hang on to their last coins. And then the second is when they ran into people who don't want to suck their dicks, who don't want to be homos like their races. So, and then we got like 100 other religions they've created since then. Since they left Egypt, there were slaves, just like Donald Trump's a slave. Fucking, what do you guys... Man, this is a waste of time. This whole life thing, dude. Fucking trapped around these rat alien demons, and you ask the humans for help in 2020, and it turns out that little bitch fucking Nazi asses are working for this devil fucking terrorist race and shit. What the fuck? Oh well, it's fun watching them fucking die, I'll tell you that. But I already said that was going to happen a long time ago, right? They're going to kill their own fucking slaves off because they're getting too many exist, and it's pretty obvious to see the look on their face when I go around fucking crashing their events and recording them and talking to other people about them. So They feel that the other people could be a threat to them if there's too many of them. So, I mean, there's no big deal. You know, a few floods here and there and shit. It's not gonna reduce the amount of slaves they fucking have across the planet. I don't see them flooding Russia. Fucking Russia worships them and shit. I don't really see any nation that doesn't have their symbols every fucking where. Humans just something about them. It's almost like they can't have thoughts. I remember in 2020 when I asked for all that shutdown and free money, and I didn't really ask for it. I just kind of jokingly said everyone should be forced to wear a mask. Yeah, and the rest of it, I remember when that shit happened. And then I was like, what the fuck are you retards doing? And then all of a sudden, like, the humans were like dangling puppets on strings. Fucking weird. Like, there's no one in their show to begin with or something. Oh boy. That's gotta be something great setting them up, though. Fucking, you know, fucking being a bunch of pedophile, rapists, murdering terrorists and shit. Controlling some empty fucking bot vessels to do shit like that. Fucking clearly, I'm not concerned with them anymore. Who knows? Those people might have been on my side, but then again, you know, I've been watching the weather hit like fucking Texas. That's where the Mossad bases are. That's their battleground, where they waged their war against Mexico and shit from. Those little open areas, I don't know how much. I mean, the alien people probably have a better idea how effective that is to hit mountains and grass with fucking floods and shit. I really don't see the effectiveness, you know, population centers. Their people are the ones who want the Agenda 21 where everyone's moved into the big city where they can have their little Nazi goons fucking control and enslave them. They created the fucking Nazis to round up slaves. It just turns out to be everyone was a slave to them, including the Native Americans, the Israelis genocided. Fucking so. Probably harder to control people out there, but it's not like, you know, you're gonna get educated or something if you live in the fucking countryside. Do they even have internet out there? That's weird how they're probably do, yet that would take so much fucking infrastructure to build. Kind of like how, like, when I'm in really densely populated second world nations that act better than the first world nations, they don't have fucking delivery trucks. I don't see delivery trucks. I'm trying to figure out where how all the stores are stocked and shit. Because I don't see a single frickin' truck. I see like some small pickup trucks. And those people own like little dirt bikes and shit. And I see like one or two small trucks in this hugely populated city, you know, like smaller delivery trucks. And yet, like, little mom and pop places all up and down the road are stocked and shit. Fucking. Along with a huge epicenter with actual, like, malls and stuff. I didn't ever notice anything bigger than a small like half-size semi-truck, you know, one of those little mover trucks or something. Well, it's fucking weird out. It's kind of like just as weird as when I seen the fucking humans like dangling on the strings and shit. Fucking. Anyways, yeah, I notice. So what you do when you, since people have problems with thinking, what you do when you see something is you put together what you see. You gotta analyze it. And so what we see going on is you have one race controlling everything. And so that's the root of everything everywhere. If the prices go up at your local store, that race is doing it. If there's a shortage at your local store, that race is probably doing it. All that other shit I talk about, like stores be magically stocked with shit and or not. Things like that, summoning human clones is like far beyond summoning a box of Cheerios, right? So that that's the step in the hierarchy of impossibilities. That's why I went straight to trying to play with the fucking sun in 2020 after that 2020 shit happened. Because I was like, trying to establish a baseline of is the sun fake? Then if the Earth is fake, fucking. So we jump to that establishment, and then we can work our way down if that doesn't bear fruit. So that didn't fully. I don't know. I think that did bear fruit. So I think we're done there. That's why we went down to summoning human clones after that, or what appears to be a, what can shape shift and modulate voices. That's not actually creating new humans and shit. Fucking. But yeah, the people, obviously, if someone's really going to space, then they already, that explains how that alien race exists on this planet at all, and people worship them as gods because they've been using advanced technology to enslave the planet for thousands and thousands of years. And that's the only logical explanation for how anyone of the 240 different one true God cults would have ever believed in that, in their 240 different one true religions and shit that are all at war with one another. Combine that with the shit I see, the cloning, teleporting, shape-shifting, whatever mixture of shit that is, NPCs appearing out of nowhere, whatever that shit really is. You'd see that and be like a caveman, and they'd be like, "I God." You'd be like, "Oh, it's God," and I from heaven, I control you, you are my slave. Yeah, I could easily see that happening. Although, I talk to some people and they don't even know why. They don't believe anything else exists. It's like the space head. It's like the space heads. I don't think they believe in space because they don't think aliens are here already. So I don't think you could necessarily think that exists and not believe in that, especially if you see the power and control a certain group has over this planet. Then if you believe in space, then it's pretty easy step to be like, oh, Well, that's how they have that power and control and shit. That's how they do that. I've never met anyone trying to do anything, um, relevant like that, though, to the world, like questioning what's going on, as opposed to trying to make an extra $5 so they can eat at a fancier restaurant today than yesterday, something like that. At least I met some people trying to do that. That's at least trying to do something, right? Fucking, I shouldn't be. I'm not like, downing that. I hear there is a lot worse. I see on YouTube there's a lot worse people, and it reminds me when I was a kid why, like, there was no purpose to go to school, and why we didn't party with average type of, party type scene and shit. Because they weren't fucking, they were just fucking off and not trying to do anything and shit. You look at those YouTube videos, I can't even assume those are bot farms. I mean, what is that when I see the humans being puppeteered anyways? Is that not a bot farm already and shit? Fucking. So, yeah, fucking. If anyone would have technology to do that, that's odd that it would be Elon Musk, and then he would be attacking his own base there. But then again, combine the facts, right? So his base is being attacked by weather. Him and Trump are the people who own all that NASA stuff and space stuff. They're the people going around telling people they're an alien race called gods and angels. And they're the largest people involved with everything. They tend to be 40 to 60% of the people who like appear out of nowhere when I step out of somewhere after I ask a question and walk by talking to each other, answering the question. They and if not, there's almost a guarantee that one of them will be standing beside one of the humans if they're the ones doing that. Whatever's happening. Generally one of them seems to be in vicinity, just like me. I had to spend my whole life like constantly avoiding this group and shit. And I didn't even know it was a group. It took like 30 years to realize all these people keep coming in my life look exactly the same. There's some up of that, because I had to experience it because I don't go around people. So it took 30 years to have like 5 people in my life, or even less. Yeah, I think it's on average. And then like the other options were generally look the same too. So put all that together, and then there's still funding Israel while that stuff's going on, and which is like they just it's not their homeland, obviously, right? Because no one wants them there, and they use the pyramid thing, but it is like a hop and a skip away from that pyramid, where it seems to be the earliest we can that they can be linked to, from using that symbol and shit. So and they also said that they would rule the world again from there. In order to do that, they would have, they rule the world from America right now. But in order to do that, they would have to get rid of America, because they already use their media to hype it up and tell the whole world how great it is that Marilyn Monroe can show her panties on TV and stuff. And it's the greatest. It's freedom because of that. because they can teach you that one race is fucking beautiful because they can show you their panties and shit, whatever, get you to worship them. I don't know, it seems to be part of their written plan there, and they would have to get rid of this place to move on out of to that place, and that place become the new center of the world. So it's the most logical thing I could think of. They're up there preventing other people from doing anything, so other people from getting in the government or whatever. So clearly they're hiding whatever they're really up to. So we know it's not. We also have that supporting evidence that it's not what it looks like. The government isn't doing what they say they're doing, being a government. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Donald Trump's selling Bibles too. So you have like that Satanist fucking selling Bibles. So of course you're probably not supposed to sell it. So that right there, he's doing that just to scam people and bilk people for money and stuff. They always do this thing where they act like they attack each other, and then they have money. They have money funds where they have the people who are on their side, the poor people on their side, give them all their money, like Alex Jones did. And Alex Jones is them. That is the New World Order. So he's not he doesn't need money because they're attacking him. He's literally famous because they put him there. He's using a money bomb to take the last dollar from all of his fucking listeners. Anyone who believes what he says, but he's actually doing all that shit, and he's like, hey, there's these evil alien people. If you believe enslaving the planet, if you believe that, help me, send me your last dollar and stuff. And kind of just like religion, if you fucking oppose those people, go to their fucking temples they run and give them money to help them oppose themselves. Give them all your last money, and then go around the world telling people to worship them as gods. Worship their race as gods and shit. Like I keep saying, it's really fucking low level fucking DNA genetic patterns to what they do. Like, they can create 240 religions, and almost none of them are fucking different, except for the two anti-religions are scared to fucking say worship that race in the open. They call themselves geniuses instead of gods. So it's the same thing. If some moron tells you he's a genius and like that he's trying to bilk you for cash and shit, fucking. Like, Einstein needs blood and, people to go kill and steal land for him. He needs other people to drop bombs on fucking Japan for him because he doesn't want to do it himself. He's too weak and cowardly. Well, that's the logistics of what is happening. You have the alien race that enslaves the planet, preventing everyone else from doing anything, going anywhere, forcing everyone to stay in the caveman ages and worship them as gods, running the government, and supposedly they have this rocket space tech, which they would have probably had in the first place, considering they act like aliens, so they have the abilities of non-humans that are appearing everywhere and shit. Teleporting or shape-shifting, whatever it is, dude. I don't know, because I've had like a couple of the same people in the same room. More than one. Shit, bro. I've been thinking about how I've been talking about that, and I've been leaving out, like, I always say I know two Joes who are pretty much exactly the same. And then I realized, like, no, I knew Crackhead Joe too. And one of the Joes knew Crackhead Joe too. So one of the Joes had met two of the other Joes. Fucking one of each of the two others have met one of the others. And that's shit. That's just memories from fucking long ago. So who knows how many more times that had happened and shit. But I know I definitely seen that. I know shit, and that those aren't even the people I talk about when I talk about, like, I have the same repeat people in my life with same patterns. Like, the females come by with, like, the forced homosexuality shit. Like, for the most part, yeah, I think they outweigh the amount of men who came by with that. But it's like a pattern. Like, I'm trying to avoid, certain type of people to find something of value, and then it gets forced back into my life. It's not like the Joes were necessarily forced into my life, but I think the other things definitely were. Fucking so. That shit, I had forgot about that the whole time I've been discussing this, that I had known a third. Like, the whole time I've been thinking about this, I had forgot about Crackhead Joe. I didn't put that together back then, that, like, this is, like, kind of like a taller version of the other Joe. I hadn't, like, seen anything yet back then. But, that does obviously, back up that this had been going on since I came here. And then that backs up the other weird shit that was happening to me around that point in time, which made other people suspect who could have only been suspect in more stealthier ways, other than when one person around me would say something, which I can't quite rely upon until it becomes a pattern that everyone does the same thing. Then again, it could be a pattern that sex likes to make up stuff like that to force people away from them, out of the circle, which their people do talk about that, why they don't have friends of their own kind, being pretty much that reason. But yeah, I'd put that together there, that there's that space rockets and shit, then they're far beyond simply creating a cloud. They can create a cloud by spraying some water in there, pretty much. Fucking, I'm sure it's not hard to do. So, building a spacecraft, on the other hand, that's more advanced than any human who works on computers could ever do, because that would take so many of them so many years to create a computer that could actually work. And they haven't even done that yet. So that must be some really advanced future tech if they've got that right. Which implies they have the future, which also backs up they had future tech long before it was available. If they have a computer, they can accurately run a fucking space station and a space shuttle. It's like a computer the size of a building that works, and they don't even have a computer the size of a potato chip that, works properly. So that's like future tech from like millions of years in the future, because there is no computer that works. Last I checked, from the year 1980 to from the year like 1990 to 2017 or something. Computers are still giving errors. Yeah, this device still plays games, obviously, because you got the alien devil race who owns that technology and shit. And well, what we do know is they're protecting their homeland in Israel, and just like Joe Biden does, because it's all the same race enslaving the planet. And our lives, our personal lives. And, well, that makes sense, don't it? And they don't care. Oh, yeah, that's another thing, too. They don't care. And it's their job to act like they care. Like, they're supposed to act like they care, right? Like, that's the president's job, to act like he cares. He's like the face of the Howdy Doody show. He doesn't have to do anything else. Kind of like the Queen of England just sits there and waves and smiles. That's all they're supposed to do. While everyone else does everything else. And that way he can claim ignorance and he can take blame for everyone else. And then you can chase ghosts too. Like, get you fucking nowhere. But yeah, that's it. Just put it together what they're doing. They're diverting money to Israel. They're hitting the American economy. And their little plan they wrote a long time ago, supposedly, was to run back to that place. And how can they enroll the world from there? And how could they do that if they have set up this place to be, you know, the leader of the world? Like, when they're in Germany last, Germany was a leader of the world. And then, so what did they do to Germany? Well, they fucking bombed the shit out of it and got rid of it and set it back, you know, decades or hundreds of years and shit. Probably hard to set people who are actually already in the future back too far, fucking, but, you know, getting rid of their buildings and shit. You can definitely at least set them back a few years and shit. So, might want to. I'd rather assume that there's actually like some sort of tech going on here rather than some fake fantasy world full of bad guys everywhere, fucking Mario Land shit, fucking. Because it's kind of a stupid leap to go too far out on assuming what I've been seeing my whole life. You know, like straight Mario Land type shit. Fucking, that's just you know, that's like a next thing you know, I'll be making Bigfoot videos if I seriously, you know, like doubled down on that and doubled down on ignoring what I've actually seen this species do on this fucking planet since I came here, and putting it together, you know, at fucking putting the whole story together. I'm not the first person to come up with the idea that there's alien planets and aliens enslaving the planet either. And the people who don't believe in that generally, like another 1/3 of the population believes in that, but they use cute wording for it, right? Instead of aliens, they call them angels or gods. Like, instead of space, they call it heaven. And so there's actually like a lot of people, and it's kind of hard to think how these people could ever, come up with those ideas on their own. Obviously, they're not. They can't. They wouldn't even be able to invent a religion if they wanted to, unless they're of the, the overprivileged race there. So, never seen another human do that. Now, granted, like, I do know the other ones are kind of lazy and shit. And, like, we have these YouTube videos. Obviously, they're not lazy. They would be putting their time towards being scumbags and shit. I mean, look at all that trash on YouTube. That reminds me of the 14-year-olds fucking I used to avoid fucking at school who would be talking about Bigfoot and shit like that. And, they're just fucking scam artists. Fucking, I don't know, I'm trying to be the most popular kid or something by having Bigfoot stories or whatever the fuck. I don't know. People without parents or something. Fucking, I don't know how you end up being quite like that. And I suppose that's genetics, right? It's like, how does a whole fucking race end up being child molesters and creating child molester cults called religions? And let's ignore the whole other instant appearing, teleporting shit. Fucking, it's not because their Bible tells them to go genocide everyone and fucking rape their way into our lives. Most of them I've never even seen read. I don't think I've ever seen a single person read a book. Fucking, maybe one person. Like, well, I'm like 35 years old. I think the first time I seen another person read a book. So, even out of all the people who used to fucking beat me into fucking reading books, I never seen them read a book once. So put it together. I don't want to make any assumptions too far in the wrong fucking direction about what's going on here. Because at the end of the day, if that's all correct, then they're looking for someone to set up as their scapegoat so they can continue existing. That would be the entire point of them setting up these stories and shit. And that's it's easily explained. Like they created the word scapegoat in those books, first of all. So they're telling you what they're doing when they write the Bibles and shit. Fucking, they're creating the word scapegoat. Fucking, they're the king of that, changing the word pedophile to circumcision, so they can legally practice pedophilia in the open, and changing extermination, genocide, and slavery to peace, freedom, and democracy. You can see that in action today, and I'm sure that's always been, the same way. They probably just changed the word something else to freedom, because they're not very inventive. Why change the wheel if you don't fucking have to? Just change the name of the wheel to square or something. So, we know, though, for a fact, if anyone has any sort of weather technology, it's Elon Musk. And so Trump's selling the Bibles, so that's like him, like he's like selling the story for his people and shit. To you know, he wants that story out there. Fucking, that's the first time in history a president's done that, because they have to have their little there's fucking hundreds of years of lies of separation of church and government, even though the government's literally named after them and wears their fucking pentagrams and stars of David's. So there's obviously no fucking separation, because they're going around with their goddamn priest robes on, the Nazis are, and shit. And that right there is another link that the government would be involved in making their bedtime stories happen. As the fact that they're going around, all of them, they got their priest robes on there, and the priest mobiles. The cop cars are like Pope mobiles. They got the Pope symbols all over them and shit. It's like it's a requirement. I don't think a single one of them doesn't have their priestly robes on, or their Pope mobile and shit. There's a couple that just say police, I think, and don't have the star on the car. But for the most part, yeah, I was noticing that. You see how in the open and obvious that is. And it takes someone like me fucking 40 years to like just fucking notice it, because it's right there in your face 24 fucking 7. You have their people fucking there beating that shit into you, raping that shit into you. So you know, but with the and even if you aren't born amongst them, and you don't have that happening directly that you can recall, you've probably met them like threatening you and shit, right? So there's that passive aggressive threat type shit. So put it all together, right? Like, Donald Trump comes in selling Bibles this time. And then they're actors on TV. Literally, they're actors and shit. Or they're saying stuff. You know, like actors in Hollywood are like pushing the narrative that God is behind the fires and weather and shit. And like, obviously, like, we have people in my life pushing that narrative towards me a lot. And, you know, like, that's a hard pill to swallow, because of maybe some weird shit. You know, if you're a god and you're walking around the planet and the humans were targeting you and trying to kill you because you were God. I don't know about you, but that just sounds like some totally dumb, unbelievable shit that, you know, like, you have like people claiming you control the world around them, and the world's getting hostile towards them, and then they're like upping their hostility towards you, which they had in the first place. And no one said any of that shit out loud till like 2020 to me, but I do recall the oddities my whole life, and little snickers and laughter from the peanut gallery and shit, which I can only find one thing that explained how come people would laugh like that. Because it's like that manipulative, fucking maniacal type laugh, fucking sneaky laugh. And always like weirded me out. That's how I remember like pretty much like 90% of the people I know doing it. Because if I would laugh like that, it probably means I'm setting your ass up and shit. You know, it's like these days when people talk about the wind, like I hear people talking about the wind, I have that laughter, or the flooding and shit. I have that. I have that fucking laugh. Fucking, I know what that laugh means. Fucking, means I think it's funny, even though probably they don't think something's funny. They probably don't think it's funny. So, yep. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this, obviously. The rest of having to live with the memories of the past. Oh, shit. So, I don't know. Think about it. Why do we got... And you gotta realize, like, yeah, sure, we got bots walking around in real life, but how many of the bot people online making comments suggesting what to think and under some of these videos you watch are they're not even going to create a real character in the real world to represent a person creating that comment and shit. So, through most of the stuff you hear in those comments, you might as well assume that it's they're people pushing a narrative that they want to push out. So, what are the comments in those videos? You know, like one in like fucking millions of people on the planet think God is back and destroying them, and like millions of people under fake accounts with no identification to any real person and no link to any real person. And like another third is talking about space weapons or some shit. It's kind of like trailed off a little bit from that. And then the other third, what was it? What was the other third talking about? Fucking. They're blaming Donald Trump. Like, they're like, Donald Trump is doing nothing. They're not blaming Donald Trump, you see. You don't listen to what they say. Listen to how they're saying it and what the purpose could be. And so that's standard there, to have some bots online supporting their presidential candidates or opposing, you know, just to create fighting. None of them are really discussing the fact that Barack Obama and Biden and Elon Musk look like fucking, you know, Barack Obama's mom, young Joe Biden and Elon Musk look like fucking triplets and shit. Fucking, none of them are discussing that. So you pretty much take all that stuff you hear about politics online and assume that's being talked about for deceptive purposes and shit. Just, you know, mute those fuckers right away and shit, because you're not going to go anywhere if you're talking about some shit that you could outthink when you're fucking 2 years old. So, that's what they're creating comments to support. They're creating comments to support those three ideas, right? That Trump's evil only because he took away funding. So I'm not saying right out that Trump's evil. I'm saying right out that Trump's evil because he took away funding, right? There's no discussion of that's weird. You know, Elon Musk would be the person who owns that space tech. If anyone had weather weapons, and they're hitting their own base, they're dropping insults and shit, right? Fucking, so generally if you've had to resort to that, fucking you've already lost, kind of like me. It's like, we're up against some alien fucking shape-shifting race who I've been able to keep out of my life my whole fucking life, so I've lost that battle. I admit that one. I lost that battle the second I was fucking born and shit. And, so write that off like that. That's kind of weird too, that the bots would just go straight to attacking Trump and shit when people are like when cities are supposedly being flooded and stuff. So anyways, those are the three type of comments under the videos appearing. And it's all like pretty well networked, fucking might be a few stray comments, but for the most part, those are the three type of comments. So that's like, the three talking points they're pushing out, even if those are real people, obviously they probably got those talking points from the TV, from the bots on TV and the news channel. I don't know how everyone comments they watch the news and shit. And that was so weird. I was 17 and my friend, like, I was downtown and my friend came to visit me. And I was like, how do you know I'm down here? He's like, I've seen you on the news. And I was like, you watch the news, dude? You're like my friend. And you're 17. What do you mean you watch the news? I've never seen you watch the news. That's another one of those weird anomalies. The more I think about that, that was weird when I was like 17. I was like, what? How do you know where I'm at? Fucking, what? You watch the news? I don't think I ever seen him watch the news. Dude, we watched VHS tapes and shit, like, and played video games. He had started to watch UFC fights around that time because they were coming out, but I don't think I ever seen him watch the freaking news and shit. Maybe it's because when he was hanging out with me, we were just doing shit instead of watching TV. But we usually watch movies and shit. We go to the movie store, and then obviously fucking. Back then, you had to watch UFC on pay-per-view, so he was the type of, he could afford pay-per-view and shit. So you weren't watching the news if you had pay-per-view. So I think that's a weird anomaly. That's a kind of separate thing I see in the comments is people be talking about news talking points. It's kind of like the COVID thing. It was like by 10 a.m. that morning, everyone in the world knew that, as if everyone watched the news. But I don't know if I've ever met a person who watched the news who had the brain power to remember what was on TV 5 minutes ago to talk about it. Most of the people in my life were supposedly working all the time and doing other things. Like, we were outside as kids and shit, fucking most of the time. And I didn't watch TV. I quit watching TV and listening to the radio when I was like 15. Like this YouTube shit, like I try not to even go to it fucking anymore. Facebook, obviously, we're not going there anymore. Can't go there anymore. Fucking, they want my passport. Hell no. You can just keep all my fucking shit, dude. Wouldn't be the first time I've lost everything in my life due to their people. Fucking, I lost my entire life when I was born due to their people fucking being there. Fucking. So it's no big deal. It's not like I even remember any of my past anyways. Fucking, it's just memories of all this shit happening. So who the fuck needs to fucking be reminded of this shit anymore in the 24 fucking 7? I'm forced to fucking deal. Fucking remember it already. Well, there we go. We've added a bunch of bot comments, 3 talking points, and generally we can go with every word they say is a lie. So, obviously, Donald Trump's not evil because he's cutting off funding, and he's not talking about it. He's not on TV crying about it. That's part of that talking point there, is Donald Trump is evil because he's not on TV crying about it, and he he's playing golf instead, which generally I really doubt most of those people are helping. I doubt Joe Biden is going and lifting heavy logs off of people trapped under trees, blown on top of them by hurricanes. You know, he might go there and pet some kid's leg hair or something. But generally, I would think, the president, if they actually did work, in like La La Land and humans' heads, the president is a person who does work. He's like does the most work on the entire planet. He runs the freaking planet. So you would think like a job like that would like require work and shit. You would think that Elon Musk would be the type of person for that, except for Elon Musk said himself he's not. He's hiring people from other countries to do work for him. So he's not. He's probably not doing any actual work. I mean, he got his money from being a banker, so that doesn't require a lot of work. I don't think so, to invest money and then create a currency with your family called crypto coin, a new one to invest even further when it first starts, a new pyramid scheme. That's what he does, right? That takes no work. Like, it takes like 45 minutes to set up and learn how to use Bitcoin. So if you would have did that like 15 years ago, you'd be rich for life from 15 minutes of work. So as long as you take some money out and before it fucking gets pulled, which might be long after a government accepts it. I think the government already did back it. Fucking, obviously we've got the president who fucking, who's created and backed it. Fucking at this point. Or his minion. I'm not sure exactly what his tag along is classified as, nor do I care. I don't think that's his vice president, is it? I don't care. I'm done thinking about that. All I know is they're both together, so it's like president and the other president. Fucking. Anyway, so put it all together and subtract nothing from it, and got to try to remain rooted in the reality of what's going on, because just because you want to go live in fantasy land doesn't mean that you get to go live in fantasy land. So I mean, there's things going on this planet, and that's what's going on. So put it all together, who's actually who's what, why they're lying about who they are and what they are, factors pretty big into pretty much everything. You gotta factor that equation into every fucking move that's made. They're lying about what they are and who they are and why they would be doing that. So you have to factor that into anything they tell you. You got to factor that shit in, because if they weren't doing that type of stuff, then you wouldn't have to factor that in, right? You could more openly accept some things at face value, but you can't, because they have initial lies about everything that's going on to deceive and manipulate people. So you should factor that into every time one of their people speak to you or come near you. I do that, like if I see them walking down the street, I generally know, grab a gun or a knife, because there's a good chance. There's at least a 10% chance that that species is there to cause problems, because they're involved in every fucking problem that happens on this planet, apparently. So pretty much you should assume there's a 100% chance one of them is going to cause a problem if you see one of them. And but just realize that not every time they do that. So, but I know I do that. It's important to fucking take the safety off your gun or whatever if you're going to walk by one of them. Because that's the way that shit happens. Patterns. If you don't fucking see them, then you're gonna have the same shit happening. And if you haven't faced your self-defense charges against them yet, then you haven't even tried to defend yourself from them yet, apparently. And you got no excuse for not being prepared for them. But anyways, so I'm going to close this out, and what's going to happen is apparently they're going to do whatever they want. They're probably going to follow their little storyline. Like I say, you got to factor all that in. So they're selling you the book. They're selling you their book of what they're going to do to the planet. Hidden in limericks and shit. And so why would they be? And they're not supposed to be selling it, and the government is not supposed to be selling it. But we've already discussed how their gang symbols are all over the government, and the government's even named after it. So it's pretty obvious that it's kind of weird. It's the first time that the president's ever sold one of their 120 different religion books or something. Obviously, the other one has his space atheism book and stuff. That's an interesting combo there, isn't it? You got the Einstein worshiper there with a person selling Bibles, who I would have assumed was considered liberal and stuff. Because he does the Einstein worship instead of the Bible worship. Well, we've got another hour knocked off today if you made it this far in this video. So you made it an hour through the day. Good job. Good job, man. Give yourself a pat on the back. And it's basically what how thinking works. You have to look at the situation. You have to look at who's telling you about the situation, and you have to look at repeat patterns that come from those individuals or individuals in those positions. As I said, reading the comments and stuff. You can kind of see narratives and being pushed in the comments. This is obviously their media, right? The president owns the media in the open. So this time around they do. And kind of like when I go to X, I get the same, I get some of the same stuff pushed in my way over and over. Like he has some political accounts that have no real face affiliated with him that are like promoted by his social media. It's not really social media. It's like on Facebook, I get separated from people who might be like me in other ways than some people who do get forced my way. In fact, on my Facebook, before I got banned from there, most people on my account were like from South America because they listen to metal. You could tell they weren't like posers. So, and I don't even think I chose that. And that was happening before I went, south of the United States. So that didn't change just because and when I went to the West Coast, I was getting like some different people, and that was like weird because I was like, damn, these are kind of like people who say some of the shit I do, fucking, and I never seen them again. Even though when I went there, like my device changed, as I crossed state borders, my device would change what people or news was fed to my device, and it never went back, but it still kept the South Americans rolling into my feed and shit. I didn't keep those people on the West Coast rolling into my feed, and it didn't actually put a lot. It was actually Instagram, and I was kind of networking through some things I seen there. I think events that were going on there, and it was weird. Like a couple I did see on Facebook, and I was like, damn, I've never seen people like this fucking when I was in other cities and shit. Fucking weird. And for the most part, I don't know who I was seeing, because to be honest, most of those people were all dressed up in black and armor and stuff on the West Coast at night, at nightly events. So none of them looked like the punkish looking people, punkish looking anarchist I would see on Facebook. But I was kind of the only one not dressed up the same. A couple other people in the suits, but that's about it. One or two others. Anyway, so yeah, I'd put all that together, if I were going to have any rational thoughts to say or beliefs to espouse on what is happening. But as far as what I've seen, I wouldn't have any belief in any of this stuff. Most of this stuff, if someone says it, but at this point in time, I would choose to make up something opposite of what they're saying. If they're saying like a train's coming and I'm on the train track, I'm laying down sleeping on the train track, and I might assume that a plane's about to fly overhead or something, and I'll probably be safe unless it crashes into the ground on the train tracks. That's called wisdom, right? They say when you get older, you get wiser. And as I said in my grooming video, which might have got deleted, because it's if that's what got deleted, then that says a hell of a lot towards the accuracy of children being groomed by their fucking parents in society and shit. Fucking, that's weird, because I was pretty on point with that, and not straying off into calling too many people poopy faces and stuff. So yeah, one thing, one grooming you have to unlearn is when people tell you, you have to believe them. You know, you're a child, and they have all these manipulations. So pertinent to this, one thing you have to learn is just because someone's saying it or talking about it, doesn't mean it's true. And that's like groomed into a lot of people that they must believe other people, probably by bad people, because generally it's, you know, it's not like people doing it, you know, you can tell who someone's character is. If they're making up stories about Bigfoot and forcing you to believe it, and like obviously, like, it's coming from a DNA type that makes up stories and doesn't give a shit about you and is trying to manipulate you for some purpose or another. So you gotta factor that. You gotta factor wisdom into that shit. Wisdom, just unlearning the grooming that's been done to you, pretty much. That's the most of what I can see. Like learning there is no Santa Claus. That's wisdom, right? Fucking learning that you haven't been to space and no one you know's ever been there, and the only people who have ever gone there are actors from Hollywood. Learning that you know, being able to outthink the news today when it told you that 2 scumbags on TV went to space. Learning that 2 scumbags on TV haven't done anything except for be on TV and lie to you. You know, now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. You just put that together. You've never gone to space. Your family's never gone to space. Even if they have, how many times have you got your family lying to you and making up delusional shit? I mean, most of y'all stay around people like that and call them your family, so I'm using that word kind of loosely. But yeah, that's a good example. I like that news today. 2 TV talk show bimbos, the smartest people in the world, just who needs to go to space and interfere with fucking space aliens, right? That's exactly who needs to represent people. But they're, you know, who's going to represent them? The rocket scientists, the new gods, Einstein, the genocidal fucking maniacs and shit. Elon Musk, the genocidal Israeli maniac. Yeah. Well, oh yeah. Is that too obvious? You see what I'm saying? You got to point out the obvious stuff. Yeah, because you're overlooking it. You're overlooking the fact the cops are wearing their priestly garbs and shit. Fucking Elon Musk being an Israeli, and, you know, Trump too. That's obviously the reason why they would be funding the wars in the Middle East. right? I mean, it's one of those things that's just so in the open. I guess they're not in the open about who they are, but you just plain as the nose on their face as the old expression for some reason was created goes. It's as plain as the nose on their face that it's actually not in their cases. Especially like when Ivanka and Chelsea Clinton and Trump had plastic surgery when they're like 14. It's not as plain as the nose that were removed from their faces anymore. Well, technically it is. It's as plain as the nose that was removed from their faces. But yeah, they don't talk about that. They just put on their blonde wigs and get their hair plugs and probably use a lot of AI and photoshopping. I mean, low level people use photoshopping. You don't think Hollywood and fucking the president's, photographer, AP, Rothschild Media use fucking photoshopping, then I think you're lost on where that stuff came from. Because I know, well, technically, no, that wasn't a low level person, but I use Photoshop, right? So, not really. I have to make collages. But I can use it. I know people in Hollywood who aren't as famous as the other people who use it. Well, combine it all together. Have some thoughts for yourself, and maybe it's easier for me to see because I got people around me acting all weird, and it backs up the whole stage shit show being set up. But then again, the New World Order people, they talk about Albert Pike setting up stuff like that, and government setting up those things that happen. Meanwhile, all being directed back to the people who started that stuff. So, back to worshiping them. As usual. And if you don't like one cult, they have another cult that says they oppose themselves. If you don't like cults at all, they have an anti-cult that you can now worship as geniuses instead of gods. Ooh, so much has changed, huh? So, I wouldn't believe it's happening, even with the strong winds outside and shit. I wouldn't even believe it's happening. I mean, at this point in time, you just get old enough to realize, like, people lie about anything. I mean, you're about 2 years old when you figure that out, right? Like, that's a thinking being's first reaction when someone mentions Santa Claus is like, you have like 100 fucking thought processes in a second. And it begins with, like, why is this person talking about this delusional stuff? Is this person mentally retarded? Or are they being manipulative, right? So that's like your first thought. When someone says, here's Bigfoot, here comes Bigfoot, he's hanging out in the fucking woods. You're either blindly on board with here is Bigfoot, and then if you never see Bigfoot, at least then your thoughts should start kicking in and being like, why is this person inventing Bigfoot stories? I don't even think most people have to go that far with those thought processes, right? I think it's the second people talk about that, you are you are realizing that they're doing it for manipulation. Once you realize Bigfoot isn't coming, you realize that's being done to manipulate you for some intent and purpose. And obviously, some of those things they explain to you why they're trying to manipulate you, because they're trying to control you and make you do what they want you to. Like the Santa Claus story. They followed up with a whole story of they're going to burn you in hot coals if you don't do it, if you don't believe everything they say and do everything they say. Which is just a repeat of their other story that they created before they moved north into Europe and colonized and genocided the Europeans with their Middle Eastern religion, and then had to mix it with pagan traditions to make the children they left alive feel comfortable and safe. So you see where understanding right away when someone's saying something manipulative to you that pretty evil, nefarious people fucking you see where that thought kicks in, and it's like your fight or flight. You know, like you got crackheads walking around America. Some of them are in suits, some of them are in hospitals, selling fake drugs and chemicals at high prices just to scam you. And your little system should kick in, you know, when you're dealing with people who are creating scammy stuff. So, yep, that's that. Think about it. I'm not gonna waste time. Fucking, I could be all cutesy and just assume something or another is happening, but you know, I assumed a lot of even though I'm the person who fucking tested all that Santa Claus Tooth Fairy shit as a kid, and I had evidence it didn't exist, and I was fucking a year old or whatever, you know, my first year of thought anyways. Even me being a person who does that, there's still things I took their word for, and looked at the world like it's real, like it's real. I think that's the biggest flaw I had, and you know, took that for granted my whole life, and or I don't think that's the correct. I accepted that lie my whole life, but what my eyes were seeing was real, and things were happening on a low level, monkey walking around the earth, walking around the planet type, interacting with each other type deal. And then obviously for me, things appear quite different now, and so I help myself fall into those delusions by going along with what everyone else says and not questioning that shit. Going along with everything I see and not questioning it. Can't be too hard on myself for that. I don't think that's necessarily my fault that I didn't get to see that. That would have been my fault, you know, if I would have been like, oh, Bigfoot's real and Santa Claus and all that shit. That would have definitely been my fault if I wouldn't have listened to myself. So, just like that with this other shit. So, you're watching it on the internet, and then the internet is full of bots, and a bunch of 14-year-olds scamming each other, apparently. Bunch of fake AI generated videos, and comments, and so who's creating those comments and why, and those accounts, and since they're never really being honest, generally can kind of rule out whatever the majority of the commenters are saying on that stuff, especially that news type stuff. Because like I said, who the hell watches that stuff? That's like it's like your programming, television programming. That's what you're supposed to be programmed to go along with. And well, just think through it. I'm not really gonna waste too much time, any more time than this on it, because I'm not there. And I don't even see these things happening. And I think 50% of the stuff I do see that's not news is fake AI generated videos, anyways, these days. I purposefully go to AI generated places. Videos look a lot better. And, yeah, so that's that. The internet's kind of like ruined everything. Kind of, maybe. Yeah, I'd say overall, if I took some short-term friends fucking as benefits to outweigh everything else, that's like a lot of work for a couple of those. So I don't know about that. Obviously, I'm not even on the internet anymore. I'm making a video every now and then, and not on Facebook. It took that account away because I was talking about their little fucking planetary scheme pretty fucking eloquently, and not just calling them to kill everyone. Fucking, I get banned for that. I get banned for talking about the specifics of the child rape cults, and with other people who half of them are fucking talking about the same fucking thing. That's what happens. And that right there itself backs up the idea that they would be the ones behind this stuff to push their narrative even further, because they're real deep in protecting their little storyline that they're forcing upon the world, that they're gods and everyone should worship them. So yeah, hell, I mean, shit, I could go on with a ton of links to that, but pretty much it boiled down to he comes in selling Bibles this time, and then he brings the tech nerd with him, Iron Man, who would have weather control weapons, and then their enemies technically would be the people who voted for him, because they're out there doing the Sieg Heil thing, and then they're like the people who the Sieg Heil people would want to get rid of, but they convinced them to follow them, as I made documentaries on like 10 years ago, that they were obviously doing that, showing how they were changing their media, because I was like saving everything on the internet, so as they changed it, I had the previous stuff saved up. And it's just kind of like a ongoing continuation of the last 10 years or more. Obviously it's more, because I was being forced to learn stuff like back in the 90s that was like precursors to some of this stuff. And yeah, so they would have all the reason in the world to do that, because they're misleading people to follow them, and they're not like really, they're not actually who they even say they are. I mean, what type of Nazi gives all their money to Israel? Well, I guess Hitler also helped steal Palestinian land for them to go to. So I guess every type of Nazi. And what type of Nazi created Israel? Well, the Bible Nazis did, right? The original racial supremacist religions. So there we go. We got a 100 links towards thinking towards a different unified thought. We're continuing with the same patterns we've been seeing for decades, and the same movement we've been seeing for a decade or a lot longer. And the Trump era has technically only been like a decade, but they were putting him on TV 20, 30 years ago. So, grooming him to be on TV. And there you go. So they're just talking about all that stuff like it's new and unexpected. And then I've been seeing this other stuff happen for a while. So I'd rather try to be aware of everything else I've been seeing, and how easy that is just a continuation of everything that's been happening. So I don't think all of a sudden Bigfoot has appeared and started splashing in the ocean, and because he's so large that the waves have just came up and flooded the earth. I think it makes more sense to, kind of look at it from a different angle there. If we already have an established pattern of things happening, and especially if it easily falls into the established patterns, blueprints, I think it makes more sense to do that than to go too far out on a limb and assume too much else. Just because I have some people fucking can't trust saying some other stuff. Well, don't know what to tell you. But I know I just talked about the news and stuff. I should probably go whip myself for that so I don't do it again. That was kind of weird. I was reading I was on YouTube yesterday anyways, so that's bad enough. Fucking another day off the chart though, right? Counting down the days till the day we get to fucking not remember this place anymore. Fuck. Not have to be here. I guess the threateners fucking tell me I gotta watch what I say and how I say it. Even though it's all the same thing over and over again, and it all means the same fucking thing. So, I mean, coming from some Bigfoot manipulator, fucking terrorist pedophiles. What do you expect, really? Fucking. Uh, that's all they can do, apparently, is fucking make up shit and lie. Fuck, dude. So, I always factor that part into anything you see, you know. You can make up stories, you can make up videos of floods and shit like that, and you got technology to go to space, you can make floods happen. So, should be simple enough. And they're pushing their little narrative on top of that. They're like combining the two narratives. Even they got the Einstein anti-cult president, vice president to the anti-science cult. So that's a fairly odd couple there too. I mean, we can hit their characters all day long. We've already done that. We've already exposed that their characters are willing to lie about anything. Or lying about who they are, even. That's like the first thing you should know about anyone before being forced to talk to anyone, is who they are. Like when they send a little child into my life, I ask for her ID, because I don't want her around me if I don't know who she is. Pretty simple. Should be a requirement. Fucking, I shouldn't have to deal with fucking people forcing their way into my life who I don't know who they are, where they and their family live, shit like that, how old they are. And you got the presidents and shit lying about who they are. Fucking telling you, there's some people that are not. And so that's the first thing you should know about anyone. And so if the first thing you should know about someone they're lying about, then probably the purpose of creating that lie is because they're going to do a lot of trickery on you. So that's another basis thing to this, where we didn't start out mentioning. I'm sure there's a bunch more I mentioned before about character and how that will tell you who someone is and how to expect things from them. You know, I think there's a story about that. It's similar to that. It's called like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. It was a person who went around saying something that wasn't true. And then one day when it was true, no one believed them. That's like people coming up to you saying, you're like, can I see your ID before we hang out? You look a little young as a child. You know, and they're like, I don't have an ID. You know, that person like probably is lying. And you know, but when someone's lying to you, it's probably not just because they're see, I had liars try to convince me that there were some other people who were habitual liars when I was younger, and it was like a liar like trying to point fingers at everyone else before anyone could look at them. You know, like, look over here, look over here, look over here. Pretty much, that's what it ended up looking like and shit. And I don't know if I've ever actually met like a habitual liar who just makes shit up. Then again, I don't hang out with people who act like they've been huffing paint, and I think maybe some of those people are the Bigfoot story people. So, you know, the 14-year-olds online creating supposedly 14-year-olds online creating like just like fucking delusional shit. Um, for attention, I suppose. When I was a kid, I'd like had overheard conversations, or I was at a party or someone's house, and I got the feeling that this person's personality was the type of person to go around just making up shit, but I never had anything like that close enough to me to understand if it was like a thing or not. Like I said, even the people who I caught lying, like I'm surprised because I've found some of them like eating a cheeseburger, and they're telling me they're eating a cheeseburger, and I'm like, oh, well, they weren't lying that time, were they? So they aren't lying about everything. So I just view all this shit like that. And it's the way to do it. I mean, you're like 2, 4, 5, 6 when people start talking about Bigfoot and Santa and shit like that. And I think that's when you should first start seeing red flags in human interaction, because that means at the very least they're willing to lie to you about anything. But it usually means they're lying to you for that in specific means they're lying to you for their enjoyment and for control of you. So then that establishes 3 facts. They're willing to lie about anything, they're going to lie to control you, and they're going to lie for a 3rd thing. And then we can also wander off into other possibilities of why that might be taking place. Grander schemes. Obviously, grander schemes would be lying to you with a purpose of control or something like that. But another could be people testing to see how much they can lie to you and how much they can get away with, so they know where the bar is set around you and stuff, how far they can take it, which would mean that this is like a personality development pattern that they probably do to pretty much anyone, and they've been working on this skill set for a while. So you got to take all that stuff into account when dealing with people and what they're saying, especially in media, bots, and whatever they're saying. I mean, because they just told you Santa was coming, and I got news for you: Santa's never came. So, but they've been telling you that every year, and then they're about to tell you this is how easy they are to fucking figure out. They're about to tell you this giant bunny thing's coming, right? It's like in a week or something. Unfortunately, I looked at, and I seen hams were on sale, and I realized, like, oh, that means the holidays coming up, huh? So I wouldn't have known, damn it, if I would have just avoided the store. So those same people showing you all those floods and stuff are about to show you pictures or videos of giant bunnies and shit. And they've been doing that for a long time. And then come 7 p.m., they're going to show you Bigfoot hunter stories. And you gotta try to figure out, like, are they like being honest this one time? For me, it's a matter of why am I even listening to them in the first place? Like, because I know in 5 minutes they're going to upload a Bigfoot story or a Barack Obama story telling me who he isn't. Something like that, right? They perform social experiments like that on people. Like, they've been doing that for like 100 years. They did that with War of the Worlds. They aired that on the radio to see how people would respond. And apparently everyone freaked the fuck out because they thought it was real. So they figured out they could just tell you that aliens were invading and you would believe it. Obviously, they figured that out like hundreds of years ago with the Easter Bunny and the Santa Claus thing. So that's not really new. It's kind of like pushing the envelope, I guess, a little bit. But then comes the 80s, and they've got like unsolved mysteries, which are mostly highly improbable stories, and one in every 8 is literally a Bigfoot story. So, and we know no one's ever actually seen Bigfoot because we have cameras now, and there are no real pictures, but there's still people posting videos of like blurred images saying, oh, we found Bigfoot, like videos with somehow having millions of views and stuff, and with like the crappiest digital pixelated images of just blurs. I mean, like, there he is, got him on camera. I don't know how their cameras suck so much these days, but now they can just have AI videos of Bigfoot, right? Someone somewhere has AI technology more advanced than what they're allowing other people to have, because some of those videos are higher quality than any Hollywood movie I've seen. So, look better than fucking real life and shit. They don't have, that's because they don't have the flaw filter, the blur filter. Like, that's all you gotta do. If you create a perfect looking AI image, and they run it through like a black and white filter or a blur filter, add some flaws to it, and it looks real. Fucking. So I'd be careful about what any of them are saying. Obviously. There's a reason why I wouldn't watch it in the first place. I stopped watching TV mostly in like the 80s, normal TV, because I grew tired of unsolved mysteries and stuff. It's fucking stories that scare you and shit. And then they'll probably sell you some prepper gear, some stored shit, stored food. And all the while they're doing that, I guess they're playing with the food prices and shit. They're using that as like as cover, it looks like, for that type of shit, you know? Like, oh, why is the dollar, why are eggs so expensive? Oh, because there was floods 5 months after the fucking egg prices went up. Why are they selling garbage and stuff? Oh, because China came over here and put a gun to everyone's head and said, you must sell garbage. You must buy garbage from us and resell it. You can't buy the good stuff from us. You've got to buy the garbage from us. It's like a total, the whole talking point there is just like kind of irrelevant to the actual facts. That's what they do in the news, right? And it's not cheap Chinese goods being, it's cheap Americans buying junk from China and reselling it because it's cheaper. I can go buy a fake iPhone for like $150 and find some dumbass to sell it to for like $2,000. And I make a huge profit. Meanwhile, if I bought an actual iPhone, it'd be like $1,500, $1,700, and I could only resell it for like $1,800. So I'm making no profit. So people obviously make the decision You would buy, you know, you don't just call up a place and be like, send me 10 million of those. You like, you like find an item that works, and then I go buy 10 million of them. You find an item you want to use or resell, and then you buy 10 million of them. Fucking pretty much. Pretty much, we already know that everything they're saying is a lie, right? Like most of it, it's all misdirection and shit. Uh-huh.